Okay, so thanks for sending this problem here, because this is the one I was thinking of, where you wound up with two extraneous solutions, and we were trying to remember what that meant. And the short answer is an extraneous solution means an invalid solution. I think in this case, in this context, invalid is maybe a more helpful word. But let's see what happened and why some solutions are invalid. Okay, so you started with this equation, and you correctly saw that the most important first step is to simplify it down to this. Then you went from here to here, which is fine, squaring both sides. Then here you saw, oh, let's factor out 2 sine 2x. And so you do that. Here's that one factor. And here's the other factor. But the problem was you brought down an extra 2. This 2 should have dropped out. And so the second factor would have been just sine 2x minus 1. Okay, but otherwise, so far so good. So from here, you got down to this, all good. And then you went through a few steps, changing this around to 2x equals the inverse sine of 0, et cetera, et cetera. But the bottom line is you correctly wound up with these 4, let's call them candidate solutions. Because it is true, each of these 4, 0, pi over 2, pi, and 3 pi over 2, if you plug them into this equation, they are all valid. In other words, you wind up with 0 equals 0. So that's good. The problem is, what you also need to do to check your work is plug each of these back up into the original equation. In fact, you don't even have to go up to the original equation. You can go to this equation, which is clearly just a algebraic simplification. And you'll see what happens when you plug each of these 4 in. So just to take an example, if you plug in 0, this becomes, on this side, 1, cosine 2x of, where x is 0, this left-hand side will be 1 equals sine of 0 equals 0 minus 1, you wind up with minus 1 on this side. So this is this shows that it's invalid, because this is not an equality. So this is extraneous. If you do the same thing with pi, you wind up with the same situation. But this and this are valid when you plug them in. And so you just have to eliminate these 2 as extraneous. Then, on the other side, if you had gotten rid of that 2 and you just had sine of 2x minus 1 equals 0, set that to 0, you get sine 2x equals 1. And again, if you go through the precise steps, you get these 2 answers. And each of these, when you plug each of these into the original equation, you find out that they are valid. And so your final answer is pi over 4 is a solution. Oops. Pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, pi over 2, and 3 pi over 2.